First off, congratulations are in order. Obviously, a big NCAA championship win. It seems like it probably was just yesterday for you, but it's been a little bit of time now. Has it set in? Is it soaked in yet for you? The obviously March Madness taking on all that, and then coming out on the other side champs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you get to do some really cool things where you kind of get to relive what it was like, to get to Houston to a Final Four, to win the whole tournament. Um, there's just kind of the ride home from work. A cool song comes on, and you think about cutting the nets down, or you think about a huddle at the end of the game where the group knew we had done it. But this business and this job has a funny way of kind of pulling you right back into, getting ready for the next one mode. And, maybe when I get my feet in the sand at the Jersey Shore this summer, in August, I'll get to enjoy it a little more.
And obviously, from what I understand too, I believe you had a birthday beginning this year. I believe it was 50th, correct?
Yeah, that,
So I think capping off the half century mark with a national title was a pretty good birthday present, even though it was a couple months after.
that was, and it's I think my wife jumped the gun because she threw a surprise 50th birthday party for me in September, pre 50. And, maybe it would have even been more fun if she would have waited and we could have celebrated as national champs this summer, maybe. But yeah, it was, emotional year.
And obviously, the great lineage your family has in the game of basketball. I'm sure throughout your playing days and then getting the coaching, obviously winning a championship was always the be all end all. And to finally reach that with teams you guys had, a great group of players, maybe were counted out in some aspects, but eventually became everybody's go-to team when it came down to the point of picking champions. Was it finally everything you thought it would be growing up and playing basketball?
Yeah, it was, growing up as a kid, I think all of your dreams centered around really a lot of Big East basketball and national championships. I think the NBA was this thing that was so far, unattainable. So I think a lot of your dreams, that when I grew up as a player in Jersey City and playing for my dad and going through the basketball experience with my brother Bob was, doing big things at the college level, and watching the national championship games, going back, I probably, the Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan Final Four was probably the one that you remember the most consciously. And, our team this year, we were unranked to start the year, to, a team in a non-conference that played like the best team in the country, to a tough January where, our character was tested, our leadership was tested, our belief was tested, and that just made us a stronger team. And when we got to the big dance, we blew everybody away.
And obviously, the relationship you had with your father and your brother, what was this moment like cutting down the nets with your son? Obviously, that's something you've probably been asked before, but having it happen and obviously having that moment with him, what's that like for you in terms of cherishing that for the rest of your life?
Yeah, well, UConn is a tough team to beat when we play at home. Um, but my best home team is the one I've got in my house with my wife Andrea, who she's the coach and of that team. And then my oldest son Danny, who I'm so proud of, that has blazed his own path in public service and politics, and then my youngest son Andrew, who is probably the answer to a trivia question. I don't think there's ever been a walk-on player that has played in every game and spiked the ball twice to end end elimination games in the tournament. So the home team is super strong. And then obviously my dad and my brother and my mom and my sister Melissa, just growing up in Jersey City our whole life, and family was centered around basketball. And to have them there, with me as we went on that journey, through to the ultimate prize in college basketball was amazing.
And obviously the grind doesn't stop for you guys. You're already looking into next year. Obviously want to go back and repeat. What's the outlook for you guys heading into this off season? But obviously this never really an off season. You guys are practicing and getting things ramped up. What's obviously to look for next year?
Yeah, I think right now you have some of the uncertainty um, that comes from winning a national championship. We have multiple players are early entry to the NBA, and then a couple more that are testing the waters and may or may not be back. So there's a little bit of uncertainty that we're going to have to kind of hang around in for the next couple of weeks. But we do bring back, I think, our starting 4 and 5 next year is going to be as good as any in the country with Alex Caravan and Donovan Clingan. These two guys as freshmen had a huge impact on who we were this year in terms of being championship caliber. I think Alex Caravan is one of the best 4 men in the country, and really changed our team when he started the 4 for us. And then Donovan Clingan, I think, is a guy that's going to be a lottery pick next year, and is a guy that would have been a first round pick this year if he chose to go out. We have some upperclassmen that we're returning that are going to increase their roles on the team, and we've got, I think, the 3rd-ranked recruiting class in the country that has some players that are underrated. So that class may be even better than number 3 in the country coming in. And then obviously Andre Jackson, Tristan Newton, depending on the decisions they make. Will we be ranked number 1 in the country going into next year? Will we be 3, 4, 6? Who knows? But we expect to be in the hunt again.
Definitely believe I can attest to that. You guys will be in the hunt from watching you guys play, one of the more fun teams to watch, and it was just a blast watching all the games down the stretch. But now we can transition into tomorrow's events. And we talked about your family's lineage in the game of basketball, been around for quite a while. So I'm sure you've probably heard of this fella named Dick Vitale, if I had to guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, my experience, I think, larger than life um, personality and basketball person. I think as a kid, kind of growing up with Big Monday, and following so much Big East basketball, and then also, with my brother in the ACC at Duke at the time, Dickie V was calling a lot of my brother's games and the Big East games that I was glued to. So meeting him for the first time, I think, at a Duke shoot around, I don't even think I could spit out hello, because you're so starstruck. And just he's done obviously so much for the game of basketball, to grow college basketball, to make it as popular as it is. Coaches like me that have the opportunity we have, and then players, the stage would be nowhere near as bright or as big if it wasn't for Dickie V.
And will you be in Sarasota tomorrow for the gala?
I will be there.
Have,
Yeah.
have you been to the event before, or what's your experiences like, obviously, with the gala and then the V Foundation as well?
Yeah, I think there are 2 incredibly busy times. It's always busy. But I think in 2 of the probably most busy times in my coaching career, um, I knew it was an important time for me to be there at the event. When I first got the UConn job, I got to the gala to support Dickie V and the Jimmy V Foundation with the fight against cancer. And then as the national championship coach and representative of UConn basketball, I just felt it was critical for me. While there's a lot of recruiting and a lot of other things going on, I know I needed to be there for the event tomorrow night.
And with so many of college basketball and really sports stars showing up to this event, obviously Dick, the personality that he is, and then the event raising money for pediatric cancer research. Why is it that everybody flocks to this every year? Obviously, the idea behind it is what it is, but still people are making an effort to come and be a part and be persistent supporters and helpers of Dick Vitale and the V Foundation. Why is it this? What is the staying power of this event to have all these stars and coaches and players and celebrities come back each year?
Yeah, I think it's it's all three things really. It's obviously it's the kids. To see the young kids have to struggle and fight and battle this brutal disease. I mean, you want to go out and support children. There's nothing more important in our society than our children, than our kids. And then obviously the combination of Dick Vitale and what Dickie V has meant to everyone in the sports world. He's one of one truly, and the V Foundation. How much Jim Valvano has meant to all of us coaches that have tried to emulate different parts of his leadership and his greatness as a coach. So when those three things come together, obviously it brings out a lot of people.
And I would be lying to you if I said that I looked up the weather today in Connecticut in the Stores area, but I'm assuming you're pretty excited to trade in, obviously, whatever weather you have there, maybe getting some warmer climate down here. Yeah, you got the hoodie on, I see.
It's hoodie weather here. I look, it's we're in the 50s here with a little bit of rain, so it's definitely it's definitely gonna be nice to get out to Sarasota, right? I think that's where I'm going.
Yeah, yeah, Sarasota.
It's been
That's
a
right.
crazy schedule, man, but I know it's going to be nice to throw some shorts and a polo on, at least on the plane, and then we'll transition to the suit. But it'll be great to get some nice weather.
And obviously, you guys keep a busy schedule as coaches, whether it's recruiting, planning for the next season, doing media hits like this, or just doing the roundabout, the caravan events going around your town. Obviously, do you ever get the downtime to take a little time? I know you said obviously you try to get to the Jersey Shore, but what do you guys get some downtime, whether it's just a couple of days on the Florida beach or at
We're
Jersey Shore or
sometime in May, I think. There's going to be a little bit of time. Our players are finishing up exams. Um, and then there's going to be a time period where you're not doing like recruiting on campus, off campus, where they kind of connect. And usually for us, there's like a week to 10 days in May, and then a similar little break in August. Otherwise, man, it's all gas, man, all the time and it's pretty relentless. But I always feel like I'm better when I'm busy. But little time at the Jersey Shore and some quality time with my wife and my boys is about all I need to recharge.
obviously you mentioned talking about your players taking exams and things like that. We do a segment here where we do student athletes of the month. We honor athletes obviously for their stellar play on the court or on the field, whatever sport they're playing, but they're also applying themselves in the classroom. As a coach, obviously at the collegiate level, it's different than high school, but how much are you after your students about, academically being inclined and trying to keep up with their grades? Obviously, it's a lot to take on, a lot of responsibility, but at the collegiate level, does it really change in terms of high school trying to balance?
Yeah, listen, there's nothing more important than your education. Um, the world takes advantage of people um, that don't have the intellect, or the skill set to be able to function in a lot of different areas in terms of a student athlete's development, the academic piece. Not just their performance in terms of GPA, but the way that they strive, the work habits, the discipline, the ability to communicate in an effective way with their professors, the ability to get up and be on time and to go to every single class, unless there's a situation that's unavoidable relative to to illness or injury or travel. Yeah, I mean, it's those are the skills that are going to be able to carry you through the 40 to 50 years of your life, that you're not going to be playing basketball. And the onus is on college coaches. We're the last group of people that are going to really try to educate these kids, because once you leave college and you leave the security of campus life, you better be prepared with all the skills that you need to be successful in a very competitive world.
And then lastly, before I let you go, last year I got this at the gala. I got to speak with Rick Pitino. He told me a fantastic story about uh, learning that Dick Vitale only had one eye at 5-star. And then I also talked to Scott Drew, who gave an impeccable Dick Vitale impersonation. And I've talked to Rick Barnes and Derek Wittenberg both this year. Neither one of them wanted to divvy out a Dickie V impersonation or had a stellar story to tell me. Do you have any Dickie
Oh.
V stories from obviously you mentioned the Duke shoot around meeting him and you were speechless, or do you have a Dick Vitale impersonation in the bag you could throw out for me?
If I get a drink in me at the event, I'd be able to do something great for you. It's just it's only three. It's a little bit after 3 o'clock, and that's too early for me. Uh, awesome, baby.
There you go. That's all.
Diaper, Bobby Hurley.
I appreciate it, Coach. Like I'd love to talk to you again on Friday, and maybe after you do get that drink in you, we can do another one of these live.
I got you, man.
All right, I appreciate you taking the time, Coach. It was a wonderful conversation. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow.